Lights out, I'm your favorite. Too many ways, been in your place, there's delays. Add it up, plus sign, zeros on the table. Driving and vibing, bring the beat later. Wanna make it bigger, just a little bit of flavor showing up to my space, I'm a fashion dealer. I'm your biggest bidder, meet me in the middle. I just don't wanna settle under these lucid dreams. I'm not just a visionary, it's all making sense to me. Not a basic, ain't no ordinary.
Hey guys, so a couple thoughts on the tester game. I still need to work out the beginning of the game. I noticed that this is for a different generation as me. They're for kids, and kids, I don't know, I mean, some really like to read, like my daughter loves to read. And let me show you. And in the game, there are a lot of clues of why you're playing the game, how to play the game, in journal entries written by this explorer, right? And they wouldn't really take the time to sit down and read like the last page where everything is very explicitly played out and then it makes a lot more sense. So I need to figure out how to make it more engaging, that's the word, more engaging in the beginning for them to play. I also, because I did this while having a fever, I need to translate more things, make some inscriptions a bit shorter, code something else that I didn't get a chance to code. And that's why it was really, really great that I was able to test it with kids and teens and preteens. I thought it was really great. And it was it was a really great learning experience because this is the first game that I've ever created like this. I loved creating it. Like creating this little booklet was, I'll show you guys the outside of it. Oh my God, I had so much fun creating this. It was a lot of fun. Or like this drawing that I did, it's like a little map of Plouzané, well, with the lighthouse and just certain little tidbits. I loved it. I mean, really cool, really cool. But I do know that certain things do need to be improved. Certain things worked really, really well and they really liked it. Other things could be changed or even removed from the game. And yeah, so it was a really valuable lesson. But I really loved it. Despite it being a lot of work, it was totally worth it. I loved creating this. I learned so much making this game, and I would love to make another one. All right, guys, so welcome to a new video. Today, we are going to be talking all about art creation for the game and all my sketches. I'm gonna show you all the sketches that I did, all the prep work that I did, and show you step by step how I came about this game. So I use 3 different sketchbooks. I have my A5 Royal Talons Art Creation Sketchbook. I have my A4 Royal Talons Sketchbook. And then I have my Leuchtturm 1970 A+ Sketchbook. And I think I started in the Royal Talons one. So let's find the page where I started doing all of that work. As you saw in the first video, it was me just writing down in my sketchbook. I started with a font that gave me a feel, and I just started writing out ideas, finding images of old fishermen. I knew that I needed to have puzzles and pieces where people had to translate, and since I was using the idea of druids, I looked for their written language. They would do carvings in stones called Ogham or Ogham. I don't know how you would pronounce it. And so I wrote down the alphabet here. And then I just started writing a story, journal entries that supposedly the guardians would write of mysterious things that were happening. Of course, I was writing them in English because that is my go-to language when I write stories, and I was just starting to think up of the explorer and what type of things he would be needing. I also really wanted there to be a fictional character
which is the paper mache creature that Chantal and I created, which is like the little gnome person. And I did several illustrations with him that I'll be showing you in this sketchbook of him just, walking around. I really like this one. It's just a little thing. First, I did a little sketch of him, and then I did him a bit bigger here. I would always draw the lighthouse because I also had to create some coloring pages. This ended up being just the lighthouse in itself. I used it later on for a different illustration. Of course, some pages are really crappy. Like, look at this guy. No, definitely was not going to use him. Again, here I was working out like the order of the puzzles and how the one was going to lead to the second one, which was going to lead to the third one, which would lead to the fourth one, and explaining it as well to other people. Here's the lighthouse, this composition that I used then for this, which turned out to be the artwork that I used to create the badges that people would win at the end of the game. And it was also the wooden puzzle that I did for them. It was also another enigma. So that's a little design, and it's a coloring page as well. So continuing on in this sketchbook, I would just like look inside at the blueprints and see if maybe I could use that for a puzzle. I mean, I never used this. And I also never used any of these journal entries. I mean, there's a little bit of it in the final book, but it's completely different. But you need to do a lot of work to create these things. So here's one of the illustrations that I did of the little gnome guy. And here you can see the explorer behind the tree. I really, really like this one. I love how it turned out. And this one I used acrylic gouache and colored pencils and a little bit of pastels. In this one, I used the Shinhan Pass and watercolors and colored pencils and the ink tints. So you can see the difference between the two. This one's much lighter, but I really like this one. And then I did another one. Poof, look at that color. I just love this pink. It's him just like sleeping on a tree. And I really, really like this one as well. So yeah, so that's it for this sketchbook. Let's see if I can find what I've done in this one. Because it really, see here, I was doing more sketches of the lighthouse because, of course, we were doing also an art workshop where they were going to be creating little books of the lighthouse. So I was just drawing it and seeing how it would turn out. See here again, I was working on composition for coloring pages. I like that little sad elephant. That's really cool looking. This is just for my art class. Here, this was one of the first illustrations that I did of like the guardians of the lighthouse when I did the PDF presenting the idea to the town hall. Here is another sketch that I did, but I ended up not using it at all for the book in the end. But again, it's something that you just need to create and go with. Here's like a gnome, as you can see here. I was writing down all the illustrations that I needed to make for either the book or the video that I was going to make. Here, this is also, I was just sitting in this gravesite that there is and just drawing. It's very flat. I was only doing it like as an exercise. Also something like here's one of the initial sketches. This was too dark, so I abandoned it. I could have continued with it, but I wanted it to be larger, so I then went back here and drew it. And I actually think I have a video of me drawing this. I might upload it, I don't know. Again, this is just my art class that I give. Different exercises that we've been doing. And I think that's it. Oh no, here's another little sketch. Quickly, of course this leg is too small, but I might explore this later and continue with it. But again, something that I never really finished for the book. Again, this is for my workshop class stuff. But now in this one, we get a lot of the work being done for this game. Like here, I was writing down all the to-do list. Again, here I was trying to draw the druid. I preferred this face. I really liked this face. Here I did it again, but it looked too much like Jesus. Well, the whitewashed Jesus, because of course Jesus was not white. And here again, I was going through like the text of what the druid was saying, what it should say in Morse code, because there is a part that is in Morse code. Here, I fully wrote out every single step of the game. Like these are all the answers. This is how it's played. I had to create symbols for stones and then paint them on stones, which you'll see. And I think later on when I go through the playthrough of the game, I had people test it out. Here I was writing down how I wanted the book to be laid out. Also, I was writing down, in the video. Here I was doing all the video, the dialogue that was going to be said by the narrator. I first had to write it in English and then in French, with help, obviously, with a French native speaker, because my French is like a combination of poorly written French and Google Translate. Exactly. And now here, these are all the drawings that I did for the video, for the trailer, and I was writing down which ones I still had to do, because I didn't do them all in this sketchbook. I mainly did it with my tablet with Procreate. And now this are, I went back and had to change things in the book after talking to the people, what would work and what not. More illustrations that I drew for the video, more illustrations for the video, and this is just from one of my classes. And now the final version of the book is this one. So we start out with, as if it were just a notebook, and we have the name of the game here, Journal de Jones. We have an old postcard of the Petit Minou. Here we have some journal entries in French. This just is a filler. We have the first enigma with the little guide that helps you translate it. And already here I started translating it for them. We have the second enigma, which is using this map to figure out the order of the symbols of the stones that you saw in this big sketchbook. And then here's the third enigma with this in continuation. And then the fourth enigma. And see, this is the same postcard as here. However, the name here is changed, and they have to use this to decipher what it says here in order to translate what it says here. And then this is the puzzle that they have to complete. And so they see the full illustration of the puzzle, and it's easier for the kids to finish that. So yeah, so that is the booklet and all the artwork that I did for the game. Quite a lot, huh? But it was such an enjoyable day. I didn't film much the day of the game because I was a guide in the game and I did not have time. I did not have time to do a full video, but my husband did help me, and Renee, who is a dear friend of mine, her son, also helped me film a bit. So I will be putting that all together with Renee later in another video and showing you guys the day of the game. So I hope you enjoyed this little flip through of all the artwork, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
I'm not thinking off my head, yeah. Just being honest. What's the big difference, yeah? And I've been feeling my own inertia. Just being honest. There's no difference. And more so, yeah. I don't